International Women's Day commemoration organized by the Women's Studies Center, Mizoram University. UGC Women's Studies Center, to be more specific. So I would like to read out a few lines with regards to the importance, with regards to the pivotal role of women in society, in families, as individuals. And that includes the gentlemen in the group or in the hall as well. So once again, good morning. I will just read out a few lines. A woman is not just a human being. She is a force of nature with the power to create life, endure immense challenges, and rise stronger from every struggle. She embodies resilience, strength, and grace in ways that inspire those around her. Today, we celebrate incredible strength, resilience, and achievements of women across the globe. Let us continue to support and uplift as we move forward, embracing challenges with strength and compassion, and celebrate every step of progress together. Happy Women's Day to everyone. The actual date is 8th of March, and it has been celebrated for many, many years, about which I will be discussing as we proceed. I would first of all like to welcome the chief guest, the PVC, Mizoram University, Professor Pravakar Rath. Sir, thank you very much for your always kind support to the Women's Studies Center, Mizoram University. Any issue or challenge that we face, we immediately run to him, and then he tries to cool us down or help us, give us support in any way that he can. He is also a member of the advisory committee, Mizoram, UGC Women's Studies Center, Mizoram University. And I would also like to welcome Miss Lalmuanpuii, sorry. As you can see from the banner, she is a Master of Theology, and she has many, many years of experience with regards to women issues and challenges, not just in India, but also abroad. I would also like to welcome Professor Geraldine Forbes. Welcome, Madam. Yeah. Happy International Women's Day. Yeah. Thank you for your always kind support to UGC Women's Studies Center. Thank you. So I would just like to give you a few background information on Professor Geraldine Forbes. She was also the resource person at the UGC Women's Studies Center program last year, which was organized at Synod Conference Hall, Aizawl. It was not online that time, she came in person, but this year she is not able to come in person, so she's participating, being the agreed to be the resource person online. Thank you once again, Professor. She is a distinguished teaching professor emerita from the Department of History, New York State University, sunny Oswego, USA. She is a great scholar and pioneer of women's history in South Asia who has completed 50 years of her Association of India. Professor Forbes has been working tirelessly for the last 5 decades to retrieve the lost voices of Indian women and visibilize those who have heretofore remained hidden from history. She is an expert in oral history, diaries, memories, and photographs, etc. So we are very fortunate to have such a distinguished resource person. I would also like to welcome my fellow colleagues, Professor Devendran from the Department of Social Work, Professor K.C. Mamwani from the Department of English, and research scholars from different departments of the university, and also my dear students. I would also like to introduce the standing committee members of the UGC Women's Studies Center. Professor Irene, she is a standing committee member of the Women's Study. Dr. Ming Thanzwali, she is also a standing committee member. And in the audience, we have Dr. Lal Fakzwali. She is also a member of the Standing Committee. We have a staff of 5 people in the Women's Studies Center, and we offer courses. I will talk about those presently. So that is the UGC Women's Studies Center, Mizoram University. Once again, I would like to welcome all of you for participating in this very, very important commemoration of International Women's Day, which, as we all know, is a day where the dignity of women, the gender equality, and all other issues and challenges of women are supposed to be publicized or are supposed to be brought to the attention of people. The Women and Child Development Department, Government of Mizoram has been organizing several programs. If you look around in town, you will see big posters and banners of renowned women in Mizoram, Mizo women, who have made a mark in different lines of work. And yesterday, day before yesterday, there was a mobile program which was organized by the Women and Child Development Society before or in front of Millennium Center, and again Vanapa Hall and different places in Aizawl. Some of you may have experienced. So this year, we are celebrating together with the Women and Child Development Department, Social Welfare, Government of Mizoram in a big way. Then we have also, since 2023, Zakapa Award. Zakapa is a very, very famous Fan Ai, Lal of Mizoram. He was the protector of women's rights, even way back in the end of the 18th century when he was the chief of a village in Aizawl. So from YouTube and other sources you may watch. Tomorrow there's going to be a big function at Multipurpose Hall, Dorpui, which is organized by the Women and Child Development Department, Government of Mizoram, where the Zakapa Award. The Zakapa awardee for 2023 was Professor Lalrin Omi Ralte, a very renowned women person. And tomorrow the Zakapa awardee for 2025 will be announced at that function. So going back to the concept and the context of women's studies and International Women's Day. International Women's Day is a global celebration of women's achievement and a call to action for gender equality. It is observed annually on March 8, and this year's theme, as you can see from the banner, is For All Women and Girls, Rights, Equality, Empowerment. And here, when we talk about all these concepts, we are talking about gender equality, we are talking about reproductive rights, we are talking about violence against women, which may include domestic violence of women, and last but not the least, economic empowerment of women. So those are the 5 stepping stones for the celebration of International Women's Day. It was first, the International Women's Day was first recorded way back on 28th of February 1909. That was a long, long time ago. And incidentally, yesterday, I happened to watch Meryl Streep on BBC, and she was talking about the rights of women in celebration or in commemoration of International Women's Day. And Meryl Streep, as we all know, is a very, very famous actress. And what she said that in 2019, in Afghanistan, in 1919, way back, Afghanistan had given voting rights to women. And now we know that in Afghanistan, the women have no rights at all. She said the cats have more rights than women in Afghanistan. And that was, I think, a very appropriate phrase. So as we continue, as we go on, the rights of women have improved or have been increased, I don't know if that's a correct word, over the years. So now, every year for the last couple of decades, we have been celebrating, I should say rather, 30 years down the line, we have been celebrating International Women's Day. And every year there is a specific theme, and the theme for this year, as you can see, is here. I'll just read it out again. For all women and girls, rights, equality, empowerment. And the UGC Women's Study Center, Mizoram University, was established in the year 2016 under the very able leadership of Professor Lalmuanpuii, professor in the Department of Public Administration. So it has been functioning. It has been offering IMN, IMJ courses from 2020-22, and I think a couple of you are students at the Women's Studies Center for the IMN, IMJ courses. And I'm proud to say that it is a very vibrant center now, and also students, let me share a little something with it. Right before the exams, which happened in December, I think end of November, 3-4 students came to meet me. Being the Honorary Director, they said that, Madam, can you please admit us to the IMN, IMJ courses? I told them it's the tail end of the year, no more classes. You should have come at the beginning of the semester. But they said there were no more seats available. So I'm very proud to say that students are very much interested, and they are coming in droves to take the women's studies courses at the center. The Women's Studies Center is focused on research, academics, skill development, and empowerment of women. At the end, since 2022, the Women's Studies Center have been organizing Christmas fair at the Auditorium MZU. You may have participated, and there we focus on empowerment of women. We have a health and culinary club, which is from the members of which are the spouses of staff and some faculty from Mizoram University fraternity. So we have the flower show, etc., during that time. So hopefully, God willing, at the end of this year also, we will be organizing one such fair. And we have also been organizing seminars, conferences, symposiums over the years. And the last one that we organized was the workshop Symposium on legal rights, and the second last was the sexual harassment workshop, which was also organized by the Women's Studies Center. So with those few words, and a warm welcome again to our chief guest, to our guest speaker, to my dear colleagues, students, and friends, to the commemoration of the International Women's Day, which, as I said, was on 8th of March, which was a Saturday, so we're celebrating it today. We hope that you will all stay back for the talk from the resource person, Professor Geraldine Forbes, and also the guest speaker, Ms. Lalmuanpuii, and then there will be a time for discussion, for questions and answers. Then at 1 o'clock, we will be serving light refreshment. Thank you once again. We all hope that you have a very enlightening, enriching time at this symposium. Thank you. I would now like to invite the chief guest, Professor Pravakar Rath, to give a speech.
Professor Zoengpari, who is the person behind organizing this program. She is not only the professor of psychology, but director of Women's Studies Center, to which I have been associated for a long time and on many occasions to address many of the issues. And she is also responsible in shaping the Women's Studies Center, not only conducting or sensitizing women-related issues, at the same time, as far as I know, they are offering an open elective course. Maybe now we call it interdisciplinary course to the PG students, having guest faculty, and in that way contributing to the development of the university and particularly the women issues. And our distinguished guest today, that is Professor Geraldine Forbes from the State University of New York. Ma'am, welcome to this program. And Madam Lalmuanpuii, and he's from the Director Mizo Presbyterian Church, my colleague Professor Irene, Dr. Juali, senior faculty members, students and scholars. It's so nice to attend such a program, even if I don't belong to that category, with all respect to women. The room itself is a witness. If there are 90 participants, including those in dais, it's more than 70 belong to the women category. That shows that women are always in the forefront. It is in this context because to recognize and respect women, I am subject to correction. In 1977, United Nations officially declared this 8th March as International Women's Day. Unfortunately, that became a holiday for us. That's why we are celebrating today. So, in international forum, we are always discussing about equalities, inclusiveness, gender development, women harassment at workplace. So, women issues is not only a state issue, it is a global issue, and so much of impact on national and state level. Whether it is economy, whether it is education, or it is social upliftment, everywhere women play an important role. Mizoram is the best example. Wherever you go, if you have a survey and a round to the city itself, you can witness how much work with dedication. Not only they contribute just to earn money, at the same time, so much of social responsibilities. With all these responsibilities, they work so hard how to maintain their families with all economic empowerment, autonomy, and freedom. That's why this International Women's Day is being celebrated, that there should not be any difference, disparity between men and women, and if at all it is there, breaking the barriers. Let us break those barriers that women are equal, getting equal opportunity as compared to man, and even let us accept that it is the women who are shaping not only a small family but to the nation's future, or you can say in nation building. At the same time, we should have a commitment to equal opportunities, whether it is education, whether it is employment, or women as leadership role. This morning I was reading a news item in Google that an IAS officer who is M.Tech from a renowned IIT and MBA from a renowned Indian Institute of Management, she did not have that much of trouble, that much of pain when she was taking care of her two babies. This was so difficult than completing M.Tech and MBA. This shows how much tolerance, how much patience, how much contribution a woman has in nourishing, bringing out, and taking care of the child. That's why I said that women to get not by mercy or sympathy, with all right, every right they have to avail these equal opportunities, whether it is education, employment, or leadership. You have seen not only at global level, in the national level and state level, there are many women organizations, women councils, and women are leading a very, very important role in all this is say private sector or public sector or in the state government or in many NGO activities. At the same time, we should also be very careful, and the institutions are very sensitive about the gender based violence. Insulting, humiliating, or taking anything which is against the society or a social evil, so that the gender violence is as much as reduced, and we can say no tolerance to gender violence. So empowering women is a crucial step towards realizing India's potential as a global leader. They are not only playing leadership at state or national level, equally at global level. We salute women in villages also, and they have been the driving force at rural level, at the village level, and how much they contribute in empowering the communities. Yes, madam told something like a theme of the International Women's Day 2025 theme, but as a global theme, it is accelerate action. Let us take action. Let us do all initiatives that are possible. Let us make all policy decisions that are possible to empower, educate, and accelerate action for all round development of women. This is the place, this is the promise that we should take today, that all level, at local level, state level, national level, global level, all type of developmental activities need to be initiated, just like not say, as I said, accelerate action for all round development of the women. It is in this context, this International Day, International Women's Day assumes great importance, and all over the globe are discussing there are many issues how women can take leadership at all levels. With these words, thank you very much once again, Professor Zoengpari, for organizing such an wonderful program and keeping the women issues, women problems, sensitizing and making it more and more active, Women Study Center more active in addressing various issues of the women. Thank you very much once again.
Thank you very much, Professor Pravakar Rath. From the speech, we know that it was not an impromptu talk, right? So he is a person who is really, in his heart of hearts, a positive support and a real supporter of women issues and challenges. And I will don't consider it as personal, but I think the spouse of Professor Rath is a very fortunate woman. Thank you very much, sir. Yeah. And now I would like to make time for a small felicitation of the chief guest and the special guest. And I would request Dr. Lal Fakhzwali, is she here? Dr. Lal Fakhzwali, can someone please call her? I would like her to present the felicitation gifts to the chief guest and the special guest at this time. And while she is taking care of the issues and challenges may be outside, I would just like to add on and say that when you talk about women, And when you talk about men, immediately the hackles of males tend to rise when you say gender equality, especially in the context of the Christian doctrine or the Christian thoughts. The male is next to God, and after that comes the female. When we talk about gender equality, we're not saying that the women will be on the top or be above the male. Here we're talking more about the rights, empowerment, etc., of women. As we know, a very typical example is for daily wage labor, women are paid less than men. So you may consider, you may think it's a small thing, but it's not. It starts from there. Okay? So let us all, the males and the females, and without the support of the males, it is almost impossible to make any headway, any progress with regards to women issues and challenges. For all the males here, please don't think that the women will rise above you. They will jump on top of your heads and be in charge of the family, the society, and the country. That is not the way we are made, irrespective of whichever religion we belong to. Your role as a male is always there. It's just that we're talking about the support with regards to empowerment and so on and so forth. Since Dr. Lal Faghzwali is busy with other things, I would like to request Dr. Mary Lalmuanpuii to facilitate the guests with the gifts. So first of all, I would like to invite Professor Rath to come here near the dais to receive the gift. Mary Lalmuanpuii is the guest faculty in the Women's Study Center. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Mary. Now I would like to invite Ms. Lalmuanpuii. Women's Study Center are not very professional photographers, posing for photographs rather. Thank you very much, Professor Rath and Ms. Lalmuanpuii. So now, Professor Rath is busy with his official work, so he will proceed on to the office. But the rest of us are requested, and we would really appreciate if you stay.
I don't know what she's putting here. First of all, I would like to say that we already celebrated International Women's Day, right? When was that? 8. Anyway, I wish that every day is International Women's Day. So I'm going to wish you again Happy International Women's Day. And I'm not a scholar. I'm not specialized in women's studies. I don't have any degree on that. But to study women study, the most important thing is experience. So I'm going to talk from my experience. You know what? My discipline line is theology. In theology, we usually say that we don't need a foreign thing. Like when we take a plant, we don't want a pot-planted plant. You know what I mean? We don't want a pot-planted plant. We need to plant in the soil, which can deeply rooted. The pot-planted could not be deeply rooted. So this women issue, and especially today's topic also, I want to take it from the UN topic, but I want to bring it to our society and then plant it in this Mizoram in the Mizo society, and I hope that that will grow better, that will be understood. And then today, what I'm hoping for is not for the sake of studying. I wish that I'll give you the right information, that which touch to your heart, and when everything touches to our heart, it makes us to do an action. So I wish and hope that my speech will do like that, but I'm not sure about that. Anyway, my subject is history. The student usually say that history is a boring subject, isn't it? Is it history is a boring subject? Okay, thank you. You said no. Maybe just to please me, I'm not sure about that. Anyway, I like to study history as a story. So even today, I'm trying to tell you like a storytelling. So don't expect me to talk about the big things. So I'm trying to say everyday to-day life experience. So we already listened about how the development of the India and to the Northeast. But today I want to talk about how we are going to react this topic for all women and girls, rights, equality, and empowerment. So the first of all, as I already told you, I'm going to make it simple. The first thing is for all women and girls means we all are included. So the first thing we are talking about is rights. We have to talk about women's rights. They usually say that women's rights is a human rights. So I don't have to explain all these things in detail. You know that human rights. We all know that human rights. So what I want to look for today, there are so many things which we need to talk about all these things. Even we can talk about the legal issue, and we can talk about the heritage issue, the women's rights, but I'm not going to talk about all these things today. Today I would like to talk only very few points, and especially one point which I would like to talk about is the women's rights in the family. The women's rights in the family. I already told you I like to talk like a storytelling, so I'm going to tell you one story. When I was studying Bachelor of Divinity, BD, one of my friends told me about her friend. You know, to be a theologian, we have to speak louder because we are the preacher. We have to talk louder. But her friends could not talk very loudly. She has a very soft voice. And the teacher keep on telling her to speak louder, but she cannot do that. And to make it short, they took her to do you know synoptic? So they took her to be hypnotized. So in that time, they found out that when she was a child, she was screaming in the room where the brother took her doll, snatched the doll away from her, and she was start screaming. And from that time, the parents said that women are not supposed to scream like that. Women are not supposed to be so loud. And from that time, she's very quiet. Even she cannot speak loud, and she cannot even speak loud. So that kind of things which we think normal is the barrier, the hindrance of the women's rights. And even as a Mizo women, we want to be very, very modest, or what will I say? And these kind of things are sometimes the problem even in the society and even in educations too. So when we talk about rights, what I'm looking for is where the women, the girl child, and all the women can exercise their freedom in the house, in the family. You might have so many points to talk about all these things. So I want to start these women's rights from our own family, from our own house. So these rights is, we also can talk about women's rights like within the family. So the family is should be the safest place for girl child and the women, but when we look the reality, it is not. So we have to be aware of this kind of things too. We have to be aware of that. Can we make our home as the safest place? So we have to start from our home. We have to start from our younger generations. In Mizoram, sometimes we are dealing the women's problem like domestic violence when it comes uncontrollable. We have heard about the story, the man was killing the wife. You heard about that, right? So as a women organization, we go out and we protest, but that's okay. But let's start from the root cause, from the house, when the women can freely express her own idea, not only to make them silence. So let them express their idea at home. So that kind of things is what I want to talk about in the women's right. I'm not going to take so much time. Anyway, the second one is equality. The dictionary says that equality is the state of being equal, especially in status, rights, or opportunity. Providing equal opportunity to everyone and protecting people from being discriminated. When we talk about equality, it doesn't mean that we are all equal in physical strength and the thing which we can do. We are talking about equal opportunity. Like, for an example, some women want to participate in the sports, but the parents say that women are not supposed to do some kinds of a sports activity. So in Mizoram records, maybe there are more than 10,000 men are enrolled in the sports, but only very few hundred women are enrolled in the sports. Yes, thank you. So equality, when I talk about equality, let me go to my subject. I don't talk about equal doing thing, I'm talking about equal opportunity. Like I'm a woman. Let me tell you another story. One of my friend who is theologically graduated, and she's a Baptist church. She belongs to the Baptist church, and she asked for a pastor post, and she has gone through everything. She passed in a good grades, and then she even go through all the interview. But at the end, and the interviewer tell her, "We cannot hire you as a pastor because you are a female. It's not because you're not qualified." So this kind of discrimination, if we have equal opportunity like men, even in Mizoram also, we can be ordained. I want to talk about ordination. So like Ms. Zoengpari also talk about, sometimes our theology can be very oppressive. Okay, sometimes our theology is also very oppressive. Okay, let me give you an example. When I was in US, I was stayed there almost 20 years. By the time I was an elder ordained, believe it or not, I'm Koshanupa. But what I was thinking is, when I'm trying to relocate in India, when I was staying in the Washington DC area, when I entering to Reagan International, BWI, Baltimore International Airport, I was thinking, okay, let me take off my elderhood and put it here in the United States because I'm not going to be accepted in Mizoram. So in that, I come home, but when I look at the people, when I look at the church, I'm not happy about that. There is no equal sharing in the church. If this society is good enough, I don't mind the male leadership, but anymore. I don't know which one I'm going to use. Okay. Okay, thank you. I don't know, where am I? Are you with me? Where am I? I can't hear you. What? I'm talking about ordination, women's ordination. Okay. When I talk about women ordination, I'm not talking about only the pastorship. I'm also talking about the elder, the status, the eldership also. So sometimes, I don't know what's wrong. When I was in the US, they just elected me as an elder. But here, when we are going to elect Tualupa or elder, we look for male only. We never look from the women's side. I don't know why. So we think that women are not capable to do this kind of things. We might think that women are not capable to do that kind of things, but I can still serve as an elder in the United States when there is no discrimination. And I was thinking, okay, while I was in the United States, I'm serving as an elder, and I come back to the Mizoram. I could not even preach on Sunday. I'm not allowed to do that because, I don't know, the elder are not appointing me to preach on Sunday. And I was thinking, okay, what's wrong with that? Is it my God in the United States is different from the God in the Mizoram? No, it's not. So I decided, when I'm talking about ordination, the men, especially the men, say that the time will come. I don't know when is the time unless I fight for that. So I think this is the time. So I decided to fight for the younger generation for you. So that is my commitment. And there is so much inequality even in Mizo society. We have to fight for that. When we think about women, we want them to do the household chores, whereas the men are exempted from that. If there is inequality doing the household chores, there must be some better society. So, in Galatians chapter 3, verse 28, it says that there is no longer Jew nor Greek. There is no longer slave or free. There is no longer male and female, for all of you are one in Christ. We used to preach like that. You know, another thing is to fight social evil or something, it's easy to fight from the church. It's the best way because we Asian and Mizo are very spiritual. So the church, if the church is approaching this inequality, it will be very, what will I say? It will be very effective. So the people who usually preach there is no slaves, nor Greek, nor Jews in Christ, in Christos, in Christ. So I don't know whether we really believe it or not what we have read. So another thing I would like to talk about is, I'm not going to take a long time, the empowerment. Empowerment means, empowering women means giving them the tool, education and confidence to change of their own lives. That is the easiest interpretation of empowerment. So to me, the empowering women is to tell her to be her. Freedom from stereotypes, from expectations, from idolization, and from sacrifice. Whenever I have a speech, I usually talk about, you know, the Star Wars? Have you watched the Star Wars? Do you know Star Wars, that movie? And in that Star Wars, there is a man called Yoda, the Jedi Master. The Jedi Master was talking about, you must unlearn what you have learned. To learn, we have to unlearn. Maybe today I'm talking about a different way, but please unlearn first so that you can listen what I'm talking about. So when we are talking about the empowerment, so the empowerment, what in that empowerment, what I would like to talk about is Professor Zoengpari was talking about Zakapa. Today, nowadays, we are talking about Zakapa. Even last time I went to the Symposium on Zakapa, but I was thinking like that. Zakapa is a protector of women. Do we need a protector? To me, empowerment women is stop trying to protect her, make her independent and capable of protecting herself. That is what I'm talking about, empowerment. We are talking about Zakapa. He's the protector of women. Okay, that's good. In 18, on those times, that's okay. But in this generation, we need to empower women to make her independent and capable of protecting herself. So, and I want to empower women, and I want you to stop justifying her necessity to multitask. Give her a chance not to. That is the kind of empowerment I want to talk about today. So, we usually say that every successful man behind there is a woman. I want to stop that. Don't ever congratulate the behind women. Just start saluting them for being successful. So, women, every home, every heart, every feeling, every moment is incomplete without you, incomplete without a woman. So, you can complete the world. So, just look at it in that way. And International Women's Day 2025 campaign theme is accelerate action, accelerate action. But we have, even today I see some gentlemen, we women cannot do a lot. This should be, we have to do together. When we are driving a car, when we press the gas pedal, it accelerate. It accelerate. That means we have to speed up. Even Professor Geraldine was talking about unless we are speeding up, this kind of dream will be fulfilled in 2158. 2158. So we need to speed up. We need to accelerate. So that is today's campaign theme. And this empowering women, this today's theme want to talk about the younger generation's involvement. they're talking about empowering the next generation, the youth, particularly young women and adolescents girls, to change the world. So I want, not only in Mizoram, even the whole world, the power or the even, let me take it in a simple way. I was talking about ordination. The younger generation really being accepted by the younger generation. But in the structure, it's very difficult to make a change because the deciding bodies are the older one. So even the UN also wants to give opportunity to the younger generation, the new thoughts, the younger thoughts. So I didn't say that all the leaders should be replaced by the younger generation, but they call it there should be a seasons leader. Seasons leaders mean the older one. The elder one should also be there, like to blend in. So it has to blend in. It has to be together. The younger and the elder one has to be together. But if we look at organizations, we have seen only the older one, which is very difficult to make change on that. So, and even when we blend in, there is when we blend in, there is the younger generation also has so many advantages. Now we are in a technological world. When the older people doesn't know how to use the social media, but the younger generation can easily spread with the one tapping or hashtag. What do they call it? Hashtag generators. So it can easily spread what we want. So that's the advantage of, that is the one point which I can share with the younger generations, advantage of being in a decision-making body. So anyway, today I'm so thankful that the gentlemen and the ladies are coming together. I don't know whether I'm expressing myself or not because I don't have opportunity like this, not much nowadays. Hopefully I'm very thankful to all of you, but I would like to talk about that Swami Vivekananda said that women will work out their own destinies. So let's work together. Let's speed up for the betterment of the society. And then sometimes, I already told you, when we talk about ordination, when we talk about women liberation, when we talk about feminism, we have a lot of criticism. But my commitment is here. Galatians chapter 1, verse 10. Am I now seeking human approval or God's approval? Or am I trying to please people? If I were still pleasing people, I would not be a servant of Christ. So I want to be the servant of Christ. I don't need your approval, but still I need to talk about all these things because God created male and female equally, and that if we have an equality and if the women can exercise her rights, then we could have a better society. That is what we call the kingdom of God. We're not talking about the kingdom of God which will be in heaven. I'm talking about the kingdom of God here. So thank you so much.
Okay, once again, thank you, Ms. Lalmuanpuii and Professor Geraldine. So we are here for the discussion, and I would like to request all of you to participate in the discussion. Before we discuss what we hear from Professor Geraldine, the first speaker is about the scenario of how feminism started in India and how women education and health was first given importance and how it comes into being. And then the second speaker, Ms. Lalmuanpuii, was talking about the Mizoram scenario, right? So the scenario in the topic of rights, equality, and empowerment.
and what are the challenges we still have to face as a Mizo society, she highlighted. So now I would like to open the floor if anyone wants to react on any speaker's note, the first and the second one. Okay, one is there. So, Mr. Premier, okay.
Hello. Should I stand or should I sit? Okay. Okay. This is a question for our guest speaker, Ms. Lalmuanpuii. I wanted to ask you, what are your challenges as a woman theologian in a Christian patriarchal culture like Mizo culture? For example, you said that our theology can be oppressive, and in the theology, when we talk about women's rights, we usually get the response, Paul said that the husband is the head and wife should submit. What are your opinions on that, and how do you cope with this? What are the challenges that you face?
Okay, shall we take another one? Any questions for Ms. Montwi? Yes, if you can please pass the mic.
My question is for Ms. Lalmuanpuii as well. It is a bit long, but I want to make sure I explain it properly, so kindly excuse me. My question may be relevant in other places as well, but I want to focus on Mizoram. Many Mizo men and women see patriarchy as inherent and not as a social construct. It is so deeply ingrained in our society that it is seen as something natural, and many Mizo women often do not realize they are actually victims of it. And moreover, they believe feminism is not aligned with Christianity. They even often cite Bible verses like 1 Corinthians chapter 11, verse 3, which says that the head of the woman is man, and the head of a man is Christ. This verse is often misinterpreted, and according to my research, it does not establish male dominance, but instead, Paul was addressing the cultural norms in ancient Corinth. There is a big misunderstanding of feminism, seeing as a threat rather than a movement for justice and equality. How can we help them see that feminism is not against Christianity, but about fairness and dignity for all? And how can we challenge this misconception?
Okay, thank you. Ms. Montwi, if you can kindly answer the two questions, then we'll go on with the other questions.
Thank you for the questions, but I don't have any right answer. I might not have the right answer, but let's work together. The first one is, as I understand, you're asking about what kind of challenges I have as a theologian, right? Yes, there is lots of challenges. Like, for example, in the US, I don't have much that problem because I've been there for almost 20 years. But when I come back, I look at my friends. I'm looking at my friends, those who are working in Aizawl Theological College. They are professors, but they are not ordained. So there is a discrimination in salary, believe it or not. So they don't have any equal pay with their with their other colleague, because they are not ordained. The synod has make a salary according to the ordinations. So, but the women are being accepted as the teacher to teach those who are trained for the pastors. They train for the pastor, their students also ordained, and whenever the male guy or get an ordination and he is on the top of the teacher, that kind of discrimination. So we are still fighting for that. That is very wrong in the human rights also. So there are so many things. So, and even there is no future for women. I used to say that. Then last time I saw one BD student. So when I'm looking at her, I feel so pity on her, because I asked her, what are you going to do? Are you going to go for a higher education? And she said, no, because I'm not very good in, I'm not very bright student, so what are you going to do? She said, I don't know. So that means there is no future at all. When they are going for missionary interview, they say that, yo, you got your degree, you are overqualified for a missionary. But we are rejected for a pastors too, but there is no, there are so many challenges still there. So the other one is about the interpretation of the Bible, and especially the Corinthians. Sometimes I hate Paul, Saint Paul, to be honest. Do you know who is the first witness of the resurrection of Christ? Do you know that? Huh? Okay. Do you know who is the first witness of the resurrection of Christ?
Mary.
Mary Magdalene, right? But in 1 Corinthians chapter 15, Paul doesn't want to mention Mary Magdalene. It's very unfair, right? So, but sometimes we want to interpret or we want to select the Bible verses which we want. I already did mention there is no Jewish nor Greek nor male or female in Christ. Let's talk about that one. Let's use that verses, not that one. So it depends on which one we want to do. Sometimes we choose the Bible verses to oppress other. That's not what Jesus is coming for. He came to free us from the bondage, to give a freedom on that. Why do we still choose that kind of Bible passage? So let's try to convince in Christ. As I already told you, we Asians are very spiritual, and especially the Mizo people. So let's talk more about in Christ, we all are equal. Let's talk more about that kind of thing. So I think, do I answer your question?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, when we have a questions, if we can please say our name and our department name. We were talking about accelerate action. And Ms. Montpui was talking about that we have to start from the younger generation. So today, the hall is filled with young boys and girls who are still yet to get married and have a family. And she have also mentioned that family is a safer place for girl child. It should be. So from now, it is our duty and it should be our dream that we should make our family, which is the safest place for our daughters, for our girl child. So we are all very responsible here, and I hope we all should take home this message with us. Okay. Okay, can we have another questions if there is another questions? Okay, one is here. Can you please pass the mic? Yeah, please mention your name and your department.
Check. Check, check. My name is Nazar. I'm from Social Work Department. So my question, another question is to Miss Lalmuanpuii once again. Since I'm the first gen to raise the question, it will be a very simple question, but then it will be very relevant. So here is my question. I missed whether she already got married or not, she has family or not. If she has family, I just want to ask, how do you balance yourself with your rights, equality, and empower with your family, with your husband, as a Christian, as a theologian? And if not, how are you planning in the future to balance yourself with your rights, equality, and empower? Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any questions again? Okay. We were talking about sports while Miss Manpui is writing down her answers. I would like to mention that we were talking about sports in Mizo society, and then she mentioned that, like, in the Mizo society, sports was not for women but for male. But as we progress, and especially in this technology world, where we can see all the other places in the other world participating in sports and all, we also started having many Mizo women in sports sections in Mizoram. Yes, of course, still there is a lot of progress to be made, but at the same time, we have hockey players, and then we have footballers, and even in football, we have a national referee from the Mizo women, and then we also have a coach and all. So we are developing in this area as well very much, but there are still many challenges to move on. Okay, so Ms. Manpui, if you can answer the question.
Thank you for the questions, so that there is a time that I can say that I'm single, still looking. Anyway, yeah, that kind of question usually raised by a male student, because they think that the feminists are very liberated. But I'm not talking, there is different kind of feminism. Some of them are very extreme, and some of them are very mild. And then you are asking my personal questions, right? My personal opinion. So to me, I'm not preaching, or I'm not looking to be on the top of the man, but there should be more freedom for a girl child. You know, when I was born, I'm the first child. My father was asking, is it a boy or a girl? And they said that, oh, she's a girl. My father said, I don't know why. He said, because he wants a male child, but I'm the best one. Because when he asked me to come back from the United States to look after him, so I came back. You know what I mean? So it's not that gender issue, but there should be very common ground which we can work together, like sharing the chores, which I already talked about it. And then we don't want to be, being a woman, we don't want to be on the top of the man. So we want to work together, and sometimes they should ask me, being a girl child, they could ask me, what do you want to do? And some of them I heard that they want to join the military and they want to join like a sports, but the family didn't allow them to do that. So let them be what they are supposed to be. Let them give a time. I want to talk about this one again. Let them encourage to speak out. Sometimes the silence is not good. Silence is not justified, because sometimes they are silenced. So, because there are so many reasons why the women are being silenced, but I want the family a place where the girl child can freely express her idea and can talk about the sexual harassment and talk about so many things. So I don't know whether I'm really answering your questions or not, but there is one story I would like to tell you about. One of my friend, let me call a friend, but she's actually higher, much higher than me. She's an officer. She's one of the top officer in Mizoram. But what she did was, she's even higher than her husband. What she did was, I always shine my husband's shoes. That's kind of things, you know. She tried to make a balance, not showing that she's the most powerful. Of course, she's powerful in the office, but at least at home, she tried to make a balance with that kind of action. Thank you.
Okay, I hope the questions are answered. Professor Geraldine have been to Mizoram many times, and we are really thankful to you for always sparing your time with us. I would like to have one question with you. So how do what is your view about Mizo women after being with us so much for many times? At least in 2 or 3 points, what do you think of we, the Mizo women?
I'm having some problem hearing because there's a lot of interference on the microphone. So maybe I'm just going to say, Mary, could you just text me the question quickly? I apologize for the. Oh, okay. So the question was my experience of visa women. I'm impressed by how much these are women contribute to society. As you are fully aware of statistics, you know that in other parts of India, women are not so well educated. They are not so much part of the whole economy. And so I think Mizo women are quite extraordinary in terms of their educational levels, their participation in the economic aspects of the society, in that they also do it all. Right. So I am wondering, listen to the questions, where are the allies of women that would promote, along with your wonderful theologian there, the ideas, as she started talking about the Bible, it's talking about equality. And I think, I'm wondering, where are the allies? Women, just, wow, women, you're shouldering so much of this responsibility that how do we start to have other members of the family, the male members of the family, step up and help? And the question just asked about how do women do it all? That's what's hard. Women is extremely hard. And so the question I always have is, why do we think that household work, cooking, cleaning, doing the, why, how does that get labeled as women? It seems to me that that work, taking care of cooking, cleaning, the house, the laundry, sure there's food. Why is that women's work? Why is it not women's work? So I'm just wondering how women can find allies among when men go. That makes sense to me. And actually, I think that the idea of women's equality actually helps everyone. From my point of view, there's a whole statement about the rise of water lifts all boats. So as women rise, everyone benefits. Their children benefit, their parents benefit, their husbands benefit. So I don't believe that when women get ahead, men lose. I think it moves the other way around. An emancipated, equal woman helps men agree. So I'll just put it there.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Professor. Any more questions? We have one question here. Please give the mic.
I'm Dr. H. Elizabeth from the Department of Social Work. Professor Gerald, happy International Women's Day. So, here ma'am, based on your presentation and lecture, I have one query. So that is to accelerate the action of gender equality and empowerment, what would be the appropriate women-centric intervention for academia in shaping contemporary feminism? How would we shape the contemporary feminism, ma'am?
Okay, so again, I could hear part of the question. I really, there are some serious problems with the microphone.
Oh.
So with the microphone, I hear a lot of interference. can I just, again, I'm getting text, if I could just get a text.
Yes, ma'am.
Summarize the last part, the first part about.
Yes. May I?
Very good to just-
Yeah. To accelerate the action of gender equality and what would be the appropriate women-centric intervention for academia in shaping contemporary feminism? Yeah, for academic institutions.
So the question then, if I've got it right, is like to accelerate actions, move ahead.
Yes.
Where should academics be?
Yes,
Right.
yes.
And I've listened to your other speaker talking about the importance of engaging with the youth. So I think listening to your students. All right, to start to, you're dealing with a lot of theory, and in the studies we're looking at history, we're looking at methodologies, we're looking at what is feminism. I think maybe to turn the questions back in.
Yes.
To start asking again, what are the contributions? What can be the contributions of feminism in your society? I think we need to think how different our societies are. And as you know, I travel a lot. So this visit to India, I've been in South India, I've been in Western India, I've just come from northern Assam, I was in Nagaland. There are such great differences between societies that it's hard to generalize. I think the role of the church is again different in different places. The role of religion is different in different places. So I think in terms of like asking and thinking, maybe having those conversations about what kind of feminism would be workable in Mizoram. And I'm thinking about this because actually, and this was mentioned earlier, there are lots of kinds of feminism. For me, feminism is just really three basic things. Like, women are subordinate. All right, number one, put it on the table. Women are subordinate. You think of how, in law, in religion, in social life, in domestic life. Number two, that's not right. Right, so you just have had, such a wonderful speaker, who's a theologian, and I think that's wonderful. Talking about it's not right. And I was also raised as a Christian. I do not think supporting women is right. I do not think it's right. Third point is important and should be changed. So simple, women are subordinate, that is not right, it should be changed. Now the complicated part is how it's going to be changed and how it should be changed. I don't think that anybody benefits from some kind of gender war. I don't think that's the goal at all. And I think that maybe some basic ideas of feminism, you say, okay, Mary Wollstonecraft or that theorist doesn't work for us. I think a very obviously, very family-oriented. Families are important. Extended families are important. Also, being meso is important. So the question is think about how and what could you get from feminism? And that's maybe with the whole thing of where do you accelerate change? And I'm listening and getting outside, not there, experiencing this. But again, I'm wondering about allies. Because I know in Western Christianity, in different kinds, and Christianity differs a lot in the US. In some cases, there have been men pastors and priests and ministers who have been allies to women for change. In other cases, they have been very resistant. So I'm wondering, like, where are the male allies and how can we work together with you? But I really think that it's going to take another 120 years to have women's equality is way too slow. And so it is a project. So thank you.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Professor. Thank you so much. Most of us, I think 80% of us are Mizo, and we are in a Mizo society. We have been talking about accelerate action. So we heard from the theologian about the women position, women's status in the theological world, and also we are all the witness of YMA. We all are a part of YMA, a member of YMA in our own locality and branch. But we see YMA as only a male association, right? Because so far we don't have any women in the OB and also in the executive for a long time. So these are the places, I think, in Mizo society where we as a women and men together, we need to accelerate action. Okay, thank you so much everyone for the successful discussion. I hope we all have a good time. And at last, I would like to request Dr. Ming Tanzwali, Standing Committee member, to give a vote of thanks.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. As we come to the end of this program, we would like to express our heartfelt gratitude to some individuals who make this program a success. First of all, I would like to thank our speaker, Professor Jerry, for your cooperation and for your willingness to support us whenever needed. And we are very grateful for your insightful lecture. And then I would also like to express our gratitude to Ms. Lalmuanpuii for delivering a thoughtful, provoking lecture that has broadened our perspectives. And our sincere appreciation goes to our director, Professor Zoengpari, for initiating this program and providing us with the opportunity to engage with esteemed experts in this field. And we are also very thankful to our Pro Vice Chancellor, Professor Rath, for his presence today and for sparing his valuable time for us. And we would also like to thank the Dean School of Education for allotting us this seminar hall. And we would also like to acknowledge the tireless efforts of Miss Mary, who has worked diligently behind the scenes to ensure the smooth program of this seminar. And our appreciation also extends to the other staff members of Women's Studies Center, and also to the staff members of Public Relations for their invaluable support. And to all the audience, students from different departments, and my dear colleagues, Professor Deva, Professor Casey, and Professor Elizabeth, for your active participation and for your presence and engagement throughout the seminar. So thank you once again, all of you, for attending this seminar. Thank you.